Oh, this is bad lighting. Hello, everybody. Can we get a couple of lights going? I hope y'all are doing well. Of course, we are the evening before World's Strongest Man. Heats, day one kick off. I've been out in the sun a little bit, as you can tell. We were at Olive Garden, and they took ages, so we had to take our food to go. And here we are. I know everyone's very interested in what I consume. So, here it is. This is pre-comp meal. Some salmon, some broccoli, and heaps of breadsticks beforehand. I'll probably have some more carbs after as well. So long as you're relatively fueled, strongman doesn't require that much in terms of carbohydrate. It's mostly just to sustain your body mass. So something to consider. Now, to talk about the groups before I get into a little bit of our message. Before I get into our questions. I think the groups were really well done this year, to be honest. I don't think anything is excessively hard. We'll go through them. Group 1, Kevin Ferris, Tristan Hoth, Trey Mitchell, Luke Stoltman, Eddie Williams, and Oscar Zalkowski. Assuming they've put Luke Stoltman as number 1 seed in that and Trey Mitchell as number 2, or vice versa. I figured those two would be together. I don't know if they actually cop to it or not, but it's like a snake system. So 1 to 5, and then 5 and 6 are together. I assume Luke and Trey are 5, 6 in some order. Group number 2 is my group. I'm with Spencer Remick again. We were together last year. Andre Foitu, Marcus Camby, Gav Bilton, and Austin Andrade. I haven't done my research yet, but I know that Andre has some really good events, and I know Austin Andrade, he's really good as well. If Gavin Bilton shows up in the shape that he can, he'll be very, very good as well. Group number 3, Adam Bishop, Thomas Evans, Rob Kearney, Paul Dwyer, Matt Ragg, and Ivar Smuckstilis. This is probably, off the hop, the most interesting group of the bunch. Could someone pass me a napkin just so I can wipe off the camera? Just because, of course, Matt Ragg is really solid. We all know that, and I think he's definitely a podium contender. That's no better. I don't know what's going on. Definitely a podium contender. Ivar's is so consistent and just lost out on Europe's Strongest Man, barely, with these exact same events. Rob Kearney's definitely motivated and in shape for his last Worlds. Thomas Evans is doing very, very well ever since last year. And Bish just has really good events. Some stuff he is absolutely world-class on. So will be interesting to see how that one shakes out. I think I'm most interested in that group all up. Group number 4, Marcus Crowder, Kane Francis, Rauno Heinle, Pablo Cordiaca, Evans Nena, and Evan Singleton. Rauno could get through. Rauno could make his first finals at, I think he's 74 years old, which would be really impressive for such a elderly man. Then finishing it up, group number 5, Wes Terwinski, Nathan Goldtree, Adam Roskowski, Jaco Schoenwinkel, Tom Stoltman, and Bobby Thompson. I think Tom was an easy pick to get through on this group. But Tom also has a history of sort of cruising through the groups, and frankly, I would too. If Yoke was the tiebreaker, I sort of wouldn't have to do all that much. And good for Tom that he might not have to. Now, who could be a potential winner of this group if not Tom? Honestly, don't really know. Like Yahoo, I'm not sure what kind of shape he's in. It looks like there's some good events, but I think others, he's still making his way back from the ACL recovery. Nathan Goldtree, I mean, he did really well. So did Wes at OSG, and Yahoo and Matt Ragg showed last year that really indicates that you're ready to perform at this level. And then, of course, Bobby, who different events with Stone's less important. We're not even considering him not making it, but who knows? Who knows? So those are the groups. I would love to know your guys' thoughts, and let's get into some comments. All right. So I got to get better at these lives and get the little chats up at the bottom. So I'm sorry. Eventually, we will get that. I'm going to be focusing more on members' comments than anything else, just so I can get through them all. Fred calling 2023 and 2024 World's Champ. It's possible. I'm physically capable, but so much can happen over the course of a competition. We can't really call anything until it's happened. Josh Jacobs coming to World's Strongest Man, another member. Hopefully you're doing well. Make sure to come by the booth. Anyone here, we've got an awesome booth set up. This is one of our new LHBK items. I actually really, really like this. It's like a super light mesh material. We've got our boonie hats in as well. We've got a new t-shirt. We've got new sweat shorts, which I'm wearing. All of that at World's Strongest Man. We have that on the shop right now as well. So if you're looking to pick some stuff up, we'll probably be sold out by the end of the weekend. Sean, sad they can't live stream the event. Let's just draw a distinction between can't and won't. Their deals make it not possible at the moment, but I'm sure in time with enough pressure, they will continue to improve. Monica, Moose Crew, how good, Monica? I like you having vested interest in me. For those who know, you know why. If you don't know, don't worry about it. And Mrs. Chalet is in the room. Hello, Mrs. Chalet. Lots of members in here today. I'm sure you all came from Laws and Liz's videos. If you don't know, anyone watching me who doesn't know how to watch Worlds, you can't watch it in the way that you want to, unfortunately. But Laws and Liz on Big Laws Official, they do watch parties, and it's the closest thing that we can get to a reasonable coverage of the event. So if you're looking for a way to follow along, something nice and passive in the background, you can watch them all week and weekend. Monica says, I like how the groups turned out this year. Yeah, I mean, I think not that the guys in my group aren't solid, because they are, but I'm with a few new guys in my group who, you know, they're not seeded type of guys, of course. I think it's how it should work out. You should have the best guy coming in with a slightly easier group, not excessively easy, and then all the way through, you're not really looking at one group like last year where it was me and Mateusz, Ivars, Matt Ragg. Like that was insane, that group last year. Just none of them jump off the paper like that. They all seem pretty balanced, which is really good. Liz says Rauno is only 74 in spirits. Something in the background. You're talking about the crane. We're just in an Airbnb. We went Airbnb route this year. If you've seen my video, the last No Sun Unturned, you would know why. It's just like we can cook our own food. We can start our own stuff. I've got my car here so we can drive around. Life is just way better when you have a car and an Airbnb compared to a hotel when you wouldn't even have a kitchen. So taking a bit of a hit, but it's certainly going to make life much better. Denise with a great question. Who do you think will be the surprise finalist this year? Let me go back through the groups quick. You sort of have to look at stones. I know the new guys in general, but I don't know how good they are at stones. So I'll give my off the top pick for each group, and you can decide who might be a surprise in that. Now, this could actually be it. In Group 1, these events suit Kevin Fairs really well. And I'm going to make a bold prediction that Kevin Fairs wins the group, and Luke and Trey end up in a stone off. Now, Trey at 100%, I would say he's definitely a favorite in virtually any stone off, but who knows where he's at. And I think that would be a great battle. So I think Trey Mitchell and Luke will battle on the stone off. Kevin Fairs is just, his deadlift's been looking really good lately in his content. He's quite fast. He's great at the nickel stones. And I think for him, it'll just be holding pace in the Viking press. If he can do that, he's got a chance to win that group. But all in all, really balanced. This could be another surprise for people, but I think in my group, Andre Foitu is likely to get through. I think he would lose probably a stone off to Gav. So if Gav turns up, it would be him. I'm thinking Austin and Andre, very possible that those two guys are in a stone off. Very possible that Gav's in there as well. I think Gav beats either of those guys in the stone off if he can get in there, even if he was in third. If he can't, then I'm going to say Andre could get through in Group 2. So either Gav or Andre. Group number 3, this is a really hard one to pick, to be honest. If you just think of the events, like The stone walk, I'm not sure how good Matt Rag will be in that. And see, like Ivars, you just have to assume that Ivars is going to be like second or third in every event. He's always right there. Now, I also don't know about Matt Rag's yoke. I haven't seen a whole lot of yoke. Going through these events, event one Stonewalk, I don't know. Like Ivars might win that. Tom Evans could do really well. It's possible Matt Rag just comes out and smashes it, but who knows? Event two with the deadlift ladder. Matt is a phenomenal deadlifter, but he doesn't seem to have a huge amount of urgency. So I think it would make a lot of sense that Bish wins that event. I've seen Tom Evans have a really good time in that. So you could see Matt Rag down in third in the deadlift. When it comes to loading races, Bish is really fast, really efficient. Tom and Ivars, they're really solid. I haven't even talked about Rob yet, but I know that Rob is quite capable. And Rob and Bish trained together a little bit into this, so they would have a really good bead on what each other could do. That's day one. Day two is starts with the – what does it start with? I forget what day two starts with. We'll talk about car walk first. Oh, Viking press. Viking press, I assume Matt Rag will win that. He's just the best overhead presser of the bunch. Struggles with leg drive a bit, which sort of makes me think maybe he wouldn't, but I would pick him to win that. And then car walk, Rob Kearney's really solid. Ivars is going to be right there. I'm going to say in group number 3, this might surprise some. I'm going to say it's going to be Ivars wins the group. This one's so hard between Ivars, Matt Rag, Thomas Evans. I don't know. I would pick, I know he lost to Matt last year, but it was very close. I would pick Ivars over Rag in the stone off, but I would pick Rag over Tom Evans in the stone off. So I think it's really important for Matt to do as well as possible. I think it's really important for him to avoid the stone off just because Ivars is so good and so solid. But that could really be a toss-up. And then I don't really know where Tom Evans' stone for rep sits at 200, but that's what I would think for that event. It's also possible that Rob comes in there, sneaks into a stone off, but I think Rob admittedly would say his best chance of getting through the group would be to win the group. And this group of athletes could be possible. I mean, I could see Rob finishing the deadlift ladder. I could see him doing okay on the Viking press. I could see him, stones might be, the walking stones could be a bit of a challenge. I'm going to stick with that. I'm just going to call it and go, I don't know who to leave out between Evans, Rag, and Ivars. I'm going to go Ivars. And it's a toss-up probably between Rag and Evans. For the record, I think if Rag gets through to the finals, he's very likely to podium. But I think the heats are not as good for him as the finals. Could be totally wrong. I'll go now I want to go Rag and Evans. That's going to be really tough. Comment what you think. Group number 3. Group number 4, I think, is a little bit simpler. Evan Singleton goes through. Rauno puts in an amazing stone performance against anyone who goes against him. I think he comes from third and gets the second spot in the finals. And in group number 5, I think I'm going to pick Nathan Goldtree and Tom Stoltman. I think the good part for Bobby here, though, is that it's very unlikely he misses a stone off. So I think he would be in the stone off. And none of these guys are stone killers. None of them are terrifying on stones. So obviously, other than Tom, who I assume is going to win the group. But I think Bobby has a real chance of getting through. But you got Bobby and the 3 rookies who are probably going to battle. I think Yaku just needs a little bit more time to recover from that ACL based on the training footage I've seen. But we will see how it goes. Those are my predictions. Happy to be proven wrong, and that's just off the hop. I haven't actually assessed everything on an individual basis yet. Sean says, what event are you looking forward to the most? I think, let's see. I don't think anyone looks forward to stone walks, so definitely not that one. I think I could put in a really, really good performance on the deadlift ladder. I think I was 28, 29 seconds in 2022 at my first Worlds. I think I could do all the bars without straps if I needed to and if I wanted to. I don't think I'll need to in my group. When I look at the people in my group, I know Austin has a really big deadlift. Gav's a really good deadlifter, but I don't think anyone could blitz through all 5 bars. But I think myself and Austin are very likely to finish, and Gav is very likely to get 4 relatively fast. Anyway, I think I could get through that in 25 seconds. Let's not trip up like over the logs last year. All right. Who else we got? Eddie Williams might look forward to the Stonewall. 100% he will be looking forward to the Stonewall. Everyone's saying fair predictions. Yeah, it's a shame we can't watch any of this online. Hopefully in the future it's going to be it's going to be a little bit better for you guys. Because honestly, it's a reflection on us. When an event isn't run how the fans want it to be run, then it really hurts all of us. And I think Worlds wants to make steps to make it better. And the Worlds title is the Worlds title. That's never going anywhere. I don't think there's any other competition that's going to overtake it, because if you tell someone I'm the world's strongest man, there's one. That's it. So we are sort of at the mercy of working with World's Strongest Man to make sure that everything's as good as it could possibly be. But there are some things that are going to happen, and there's some things that aren't. And we have to accept that we are in a niche sport, and we're not at the top of everyone's minds because, frankly, this company owns UFC and WWE. Like, you take the worst UFC events that they run all year, and it's probably 5x what World's Strongest Man is. And that's just where we are at the moment. But trying to boycott anything or talk down upon Worlds is just not going to help anyone when the fans do that. Same thing happened with Rogue. Like, it seems around the big competitions, people are just perpetually unimpressed and give shit to the people who are, frankly, helping the sport the most. You might say Worlds is holding back the sport, but just eliminate World's Strongest Man and watch what happens to the sport. It would go nowhere. Blaga19, thank you very much for the super chat. What are your thoughts on the 600-pound stone at the Shaw Classic? I think it's huge. I mean, hats off to anyone who lifts that. I will say, I think I'm a better stone lifter than people think I am. The only time I've ever run into issues on stones is when I run into issues with tacky sticking on me. A max stone is something that really works in my favor. So I wouldn't write myself off being capable of doing something like that. To be honest, I need a couple of injuries to heal up that will not affect me in any way this weekend, but I haven't been able to squat in quite a while, and that's obviously important to be able to lift a really, really big stone. But I think it'll be fun to see Tom do it. It'll be fun to see Thor do it, and if I can do it, then great. But one of those things, it's just a privilege to be able to watch some stuff in person. You know, I can say I watched Bibby break the log press world record in person. I think I was the only athlete to walk around the curtain to actually see it for myself and just appreciate, you know, what humans are capable of. So looking forward to seeing that at the Shaw Classic as well. Going through some more chats. Nicholas Clark here. With all the history WSM you've learned since becoming a champion, who's the biggest inspiration in the field for you, and who would you want to train with? Good question. I think it's worded really well because I didn't follow the sport for a huge amount of time before I got in it. And I think it's a better story for me to tell you that I did, but I just want to be authentic, and I don't see a whole lot of purpose in lying about that. But I have learned a lot since I started, and I have come to appreciate a number of people who are involved in the sport. And I think I respect people who have lots going on outside the sport as well as inside the sport. So someone like, like Rob Kearney, who has a good message and clearly is trying to do more than just be a strongman. I think that's really cool. Take someone like Brian Shaw. I mean, the company that he's made off the back of his strongman career, his longevity in the sport has been unreal. Ken Nowicki with Cerberus. I mean, he was a very good athlete, and now he's ascended and runs arguably the biggest strength equipment company in the world. That's the type of stuff that I really respect and I think is really cool, because the fact of the matter is that I'm the world's strongest man right now, but some of that just comes down to good luck. And I love to train hard, and we can't devalue. Like, if I didn't like to train, I wouldn't be the world's strongest man. And I don't control that I like to do it. I just like to do it. And a lot of things have to go your way. That's why I look outside of the sport as well as within to see who do I really respect, top to bottom. I look at guys as well like Eddie and Thor, who have made their way in the sport and sort of transcended just niche strongman culture. And that's some stuff I really respect as well. So the list could go on and on, but I think that covers off people off the top of my head. Someone said here, Mitch, Tom, and Evan would be a great podium. I think so. I think it's quite possible. The thing that's really interesting about strongman, though, is in every other sport, is that you look at things on paper, and something on paper, it seems so obvious before it happens. And then after the show happens, some things will go down and someone could get hurt. Hopefully not, but it's quite possible. Someone could underperform, or someone could miss a lift, or whatever it is, and things get turned on their head pretty quick. So you never really know what's going to happen. But, off that, I think that's a reasonable podium prediction. I think there's a number of reasonable predictions out there. But I think that would be cool. Ian, Colin said he doesn't live stream because of the current TV contracts. Yes. Yeah. The thing about this, and everyone knows Colin, and I'm not really sure why. He is quite a personality, but he is not the overlord of World's Strongest Man. He controls way less than you think. Giants Live plays a role, and Colin plays a role at Giants Live, but he's one of many people who help to make the decisions. And ultimately, World's Strongest Man gets to say on everything. He doesn't organize the TV contracts. He doesn't organize a live stream. It's all World's Strongest Man IMG stuff. So, it is related to the TV contracts for sure, but Colin has nothing to do with that as far as I'm aware. Josh says the in-person experience already looks way better than last year. Seeing it when I was walking around earlier, they do seem to be trying to make it better. I think it's a great step in the right direction. They've got one set of bleachers along one of the long sides of the stage, and one set of bleachers along the short side of the stage. The other short side is cameras, and the other long side facing the road is judges. Now, I haven't seen it yet in action, but off initial reaction, initial feeling, it's if the judges are out on the long side and the stands are behind us, we're going to be facing the judges, obviously, when we train or when we lift. That means you're either going to get a side profile of the athlete or the back of our heads. Now, it's definitely better than last year, definitely better than chairs. But I think if there was one thing that I think would be amazing is if you flip that whole thing around and you had the bleachers on the street side, judges on the ocean side. So then spectators would see the competition, the judges, and the ocean and the beach. I think that would be a great tourism bit for Myrtle Beach. And I think spectators would really like that. I was actually thinking today, Worlds being hosted in a tennis stadium would actually be perfect. A really, really good setup with a Jumbotron, seating all around, some change rooms in the back. There'd be definitely areas for us to warm up back there. So maybe something to consider, but obviously Colin doesn't control anything, and I control even less than Colin. I'm just here to compete and do my thing. But I think the live experience will be better than last year, almost unequivocally. The Tex Vet, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, Barosif, your squat and deadlift explanations on femur length changed everything for me. Thank you. You're the man. I'm a little old and injured at 35, but going to try my hand at strongman at Metroflex Plano because of you. Thank you. You are welcome, mate. I'm glad that's helped you out. One of my big missions is to help people understand how exercise works. I think if we can drop the barrier of exercising in the first place, or how injuries work, or how you progress, or how technique works, and sometimes it's just too cut and dry for a lot of people on social media, but it's just not that way. You can't just say this is how you do something and this is how you do something else, because for me and for you, it's just going to be a different story. So I'm glad you pulled something from that, but that stuff will always continue to come from me. That's a really important thing for me. So thank you again for the super chat, and I'm glad that that has helped you out. If you guys wouldn't mind helping me out and just hit that like button to help more people get to this video, that would be phenomenal. And if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be phenomenal. If you're already subscribed to the channel, then please join as a member, which I'm going to pop up for you right now. Like I said, I'm just hanging at the Airbnb. The hockey game starts in half an hour, and my team is probably going to lose. So this is the last time I'll be able to watch them this year. For those who know the Leafs, you know what I'm talking about. It's a punish, but that's okay. Almighty Tala says, hello, Moose. With the help of your vids, I finally pulled 495 deadlift this week after failing twice and hurting my hams. Amazing. That's really good. 5-plate deadlift is a really solid strength base to be working from. Very well done on that one, mate. There's about 100 comments from Firewalk Kalu. Is it better if you shot for us your whole day routine near your match? I don't even know what you're asking, mate. I'm sorry. Interesting question. You're raising 3 boys. Says the BPC isn't healing you quick enough. It's funny. It helps really fast with some things, but say I've been having this ongoing groin thing for months, and groins are just funny. Like right now, it feels totally fine, no issues at all. But if I went to squat, it would sort of grab at me a little bit, and then be tight for a few days. I also had an issue with my right knee from split jerking on a slippery platform. My foot slipped out a bit, and it affects no events at World's Strongest Man, even a little bit. But we're back to squatting becomes really difficult. So it's just trials and tribulations of being a strong man. Everyone goes through it, but I'm just happy to tell you guys about it. Hectic Jupiter says, when are we getting the full Mitchell Hooper, full dad beard? I can't grow a beard. If I could, I might, but I also think it's strange growing a beard when you're bald, which might trigger some of the strongmen. But like, where do you start it? Where does it start, and where does the hair stop? And how do you get it even would be my major problems. I think mustache is here to stay for a little bit. Human mechanism. I like this question. He says, hey, Mitch, were you able to make any progress on fixing hospital food over in Canada? Progress, not really. Well, progress, yes, but change, not yet. I know the member of parliament in my area, thankfully. He's put me onto someone who's at the board of the hospital. When I get back from Worlds, I'm going to connect with that guy on the board. And I think what's really important in these situations is like everyone has a problem, right? Everyone has something to whinge about. And I try to minimize how much I whinge. But when I do, I think it comes with a caveat that you have to whinge with a solution. And I think my solution is proposing that I fund a food stand to go in there. And I run that as a business. I ask for a subsidy as a healthy food that goes in there. So maybe pay 75% rent just to have a healthy option in there and have a healthy place to survive. Because the argument of people can't afford or don't want to pay for food at the hospital, you're going to get me wound up. The argument that they can't afford it or they don't choose it, you don't choose your fucking medication. You don't choose what treatment you get at the hospital. And food is part of medicine. Exercise is part of medicine. So it doesn't matter to me. Just, like, if you want shitty food, you could get it elsewhere for sure. But why is it in a public hospital where our job is to take care of people? So anyway, that's my solution. Hopefully we're able to get something in there. And I would definitely put dollars behind that. Whether it made money or not, I don't care. But the option just needs to be there for people. And in a perfect world, subsidize the rent a little bit, give 75% rent, and we could take 10 or 20% off of all the food that goes in there. And then hopefully that makes a positive change. A couple of members hopped on. Wyatt Miles, thank you very much, mate, for becoming a member. Same thing to Drew Clark. If you guys don't know what goes on in the member tab, we do a whole bunch of educational videos, less like, not clickbait stuff, but less like influencer stuff, and more like here's a full seminar. We probably have 20 or 30 hours worth of seminars that I've done for people online, continuously uploading that type of stuff. We also have the member tab, of course, where we let you guys know about all the new stuff we're doing and try to generate conversation there. Excuse my indigestion. God, it's one of the most irritating things of being a strongman. Mike Daly, hope you're well, mate. Just want to wish you luck this weekend. Thank you very much. Luck is definitely going to be needed. We cannot overvalue how much luck plays a role in some of this stuff, and I have been very lucky myself over the last little while. We got one more super chat that I missed. Here we are. How important is it to have family there for support? And does that give you extra motivation? Also, is the baby going to be there? Does family being here help with motivation? No, I'm internally motivated regardless of who's around. But one of the most special things about sharing experiences with family, in my opinion. So having family here and being able to share in that with them has been really useful. I've won shows, places where I'm totally by myself, and it's honestly just a bit of an empty feeling. But I don't just have my blood family here. I got the whole Moose family here. So we got 6 of us in the Airbnb right now, and then got a handful of other people who are coming along. And the baby is going to be here, but it's a bit of a tough one for me because I don't need people bothering my baby and my wife. And whilst I'm really happy that they're here, I just hope people are respectful about that and, not trying to touch the baby or hold the baby or anything like that. She's 10 weeks old. She doesn't really know what's happening. She just needs to sleep and have food and have a comfortable environment. So hopefully anyone here understands. I love your support, and I love that you follow my life, and I wouldn't have the life I do if you didn't follow it and you were interested in it. But please, just if you see the baby, it's fine. There's 100 babies. Everyone was a baby at one point. Please just let my family be in a little bit of peace. I signed up for all of the attention and the fans and the whole everything that comes along with it. I didn't know how crazy it would be. It's certainly gotten well bigger than I ever thought it would. But no one else in my family signed up for that. My mom didn't sign up for that. My wife and obviously my baby, none of them signed up for it. They just want to be out here to watch me compete and support. So please just give them a little bit of space, especially with the baby. And hopefully it's something where the baby can continue to come and we can continue to have these family experiences together. Another super chat. No, never mind. It's still Mike Daly. Thanks again, Mike Daly. And thank you very much, Josh, for the super chat. And thank you for asking the question. I think that's a really important thing to address. One thing is we don't really know when we're going to be at our peak and when it's going to be your last time competing at World's Strongest Man. I have no intention, by the way. I assume that I'll be back next year. But you never know what injuries come about, what life hands you. So, yeah, really fortunate to be able to have them along. Ali says, how's your wife and daughter doing? Did they make the trip too? They're doing very well, and they did make the trip. We had dinner with them. Well, we had half of dinner tonight. And my other half I'm having with you guys, because why would I want to have dinner with my family rather than be on YouTube Live? Monica, hopefully people will respect those wishes for you and Ashley. Monica, if you want to be a distant security guard, I give you permission. I know Laws and Liz couldn't make it to Worlds this year. How do you keep in touch with them about strategy over the course of the next few days? I think this is a small misinterpretation of how coaching at the top level works, especially with me. The tactics side of thing, like I spoke to him after the groups were made. We obviously, he knows more about the athletes than I do, so I was just getting a bit of a lowdown. But it's not like after every event I need to call him and ask him how to warm up and what I should do for the next one. I can mostly figure it out, and the preparation it's already done. So we'll have a chat after each day. It's really just keep me grounded, just to have a little recap, talk about how things went. But it's not a crazy amount of strategy. Once the finals come around, maybe a little bit more, just knowing what everyone should be doing on certain things and where energy can be conserved or not. But I think Laws would admit himself that a lot of the strategizing is initiated by me, and I probably try to over strategize and overthink about everything. Not that it cost me, but sometimes it would probably do me a service to worry a little bit less, just go out and do my thing and know that if I do my thing, that I will be the best. But that's why I have a coach. Keep you grounded, and keep you enjoying the sport, engaged, and keep ahead about yourself. Brandon Jordan, $2 super chat. Some funds for the broken curtain. Yeah, that happened while this was getting set up, but it's not broken. It's just in half. But everyone should send super chats for that curtain. It'll go straight to it, I promise. Super chat here from, not sure what that word is. Epicadian, we'll go with it. Good luck tomorrow from another Canuck. Thank you, mate. I've gone to your shop a few times over the last month to check out some merch, but it's always been down. Is that on my end, or is the store having troubles? The store is definitely not having troubles, and we actually were alerted to this last week. The store is actually kicking off. It's doing really, really well. It's possible that your settings stop you from getting on. Quinn, could you grab? I'll get my guy. He can explain it to you. But all of our new stuff is up on the shop right now, lhbk.shop. I'm going to put lhbk.shop in there. I'm going to pin that. And if you want to go check out some of our new stuff, including this guy, booty hats, everything. All right. Quinn, what was the deal with the guy? Do you know how Jordan couldn't get onto the shop?
Secure server. If he went on his phone, on his data, he was fine.
Okay. All right, try that. Epicadian, if you're on a secure server, like if you're trying, which I fully support shopping LHBK while you're at work instead of working. Love it. Or work device. Or try it on your phone. Try it on something that's not connected to work. It's possible that security settings just aren't letting you onto the site for whatever reason. I don't really know what that is, but give a crack. And if you're having difficulty, always feel free just to email us, and we can always work something out. If you can't get onto the site, but you know what you want, or we can send you some pictures of what you want, we're happy to help out in that regard. Or come to Worlds, come to the Arnold, just grab some stuff at the booth. Regardless, we should be able to get you sorted. Byzantine Bill. What's with these names? Who comes up with these names? Byzantine Bill. Did Mitch also get cut by the car wash? I did. Yeah. It's like the tires were really inflated. I was really actually unhappy about it. I forgot my shoes when we went to equipment testing. So I was doing equipment testing in my flip-flops, and I picked up the car. I took it for 3 or 4 meters, dropped it, and then the car like bounced off to the side, and it's got this really sharp edge. I'm sure you're talking about Luke. We were together on that, and it cut me here. It got Luke 10 times worse. I think that's obviously we can't have that when it comes to the show. So hopefully they just kill the tires. Drew Clark, thank you very much for being a member. Drug testing question. They get tested before events, but I think that many have admitting to using them to get started. Backseat driver. Are PEDs allowed in strongman? Yeah, what a hot question. I don't even know how to answer that anymore. I'll let you drive your own inferences. But we do get drug tested at Worlds so that nothing crazy is going on. We get a medical check as well. So that's about all I can say on that. Almighty Talos. It's interesting. Laws coaches, a few of the guys competing this year. Let's see if they all make podium. I think Laws would love that. I would love that. I think the likelihood of that is very low. I think there would probably have to be a bus crash for Laws' 3 athletes to all make podium. I think to win World's Strongest Man, you just can't have any holes. you're going to have 12 events. You just can't suck at any of them. And, Bobby has the best chance of getting on the podium between Bobby and Evans Nana. But he's got the obvious hole of stones. Now, we also have a throw in the finals, so throwing and Bobby they don't really go hand in hand. It's all that triple extension of the foot, I think, because of the surgery on his foot that he's had. But that's why it's just a little bit less suited to a guy like that. And then Evans, I mean, who knows? A couple of years ago, I would have written myself off if I was evaluating things, and look what it's become. So you really never know. But I think this year it would be a stretch. Drew says, I've got my lifters and I'm next door at Homewood Suites. If you forget them tomorrow. Man, I'm not at Homewood Suites. I'm off by myself in a undisclosed location. But I definitely have my lifters. I have all my kit. But thank you for the offer. I don't even know if we'd be the same size foot. Moto Stylist. Do you have any neck specific exercise? You're the biggest neck of all strongmen. I know. And I don't like it. I wish my neck was smaller. I do no neck exercises. It's just where I happen to store my weight. It really is, by the way, just a product of being overweight. If you look at my pictures from bodybuilding, I had this tiny neck. So it's just fat. It's just a fat neck, to be honest. And I wish it wasn't, but I think it's important not to lie to yourself. If I lost some weight, my neck would get to a smaller size. All right, super chat. All right, this is the last I'm going to say anything about this. Someone said, should drugs be allowed? Yeah, and we all use drugs. Caffeine is a drug. Alcohol is a drug. When we celebrate, we will definitely use caffeine. Yeah, I mean, why shouldn't caffeine and nicotine be allowed? It's just what drugs should be allowed, what shouldn't. Say something like heroin, amphetamines shouldn't be allowed. So I'm not really sure what you're driving at with the question, but rules are rules, and we follow the rules. John, any plans to add signed posters to the shop? Love the signed photos, but would love something bigger for my home gym. Good luck at Worlds. We did do signed posters in the past. What happened to those? Did we just sell out?
Yeah, sold out. We just don't anymore.
Yeah. I think it was just a business decision there. It just didn't make sense for the amount that we have to charge to make money on the posters. What's that?
Shipping was very annoying.
Oh, yeah. Shipping was really difficult in the tubes. I appreciate that some people might pay a premium to have the poster, and that's okay. But I'm sensitive that the average strongman fan isn't, you're not generally not people working on Wall Street for $300,000 a year. So I try to make everything on our shop affordable, and it's slightly more expensive than other, say, strongman stores, but it's because it's stuff that's going to last you for a really long time. So for me, it's always, what's the value compared to what we have to charge? And if I don't think that aligns well, then I just can't sell it in good faith. So if you take any of my pictures and you want to blow that up into a poster, I have no objection to that. If you want to do that, bring it to a show. I'll sign anything for anyone at shows. So that might be your best shout there. But signed posters, for the moment, it's not something that we could economically do. Drew says neck strength was the one thing UFC told Brian Shaw he'd have to work on. Maybe you've got a future in UFC with that neck. Yeah, maybe. I reckon I have a future in a few things with this neck. Sleep apnea neck. Yeah, no kidding. It's not great. Oh, Jeff says Leafs and Bruins 1-1, less than 2 minutes in the first. Are they playing right now? I thought the game was at 8.
So did I.
It's not. Period one's almost over.
Wow.
All right, good to know.
12-2.
4.
The Leafs.
Oh, 12-2 shots for the Leafs, and they still haven't built a lead. How good? Could you just shut the volume off? Good question here from Michael C. Do most of the strongmen have other jobs, or can they make ends meet just from comps? Most have jobs. The vast majority have jobs. Being a full-time strongman is still a huge privilege, and I really don't even consider myself a full-time strongman. I've got my clinic, I've got my clothing, I've got my coaching, I've got social media marketing type stuff, which is a revenue stream. So, you know, it's not like playing on the PGA Tour in the NFL. You don't just go to the gym and go home. But those who make strongman a full-time job are usually having some sort of subsidy through coaching. Yeah, I mean, for example, I don't know if World's Strongest Man, let me see if this is public information. Just looking at prize money for World's Strongest Man. If it's public information, then I could talk about it. I'm not sure it is. Let's go to the Rogue Invitational. Rogue Invitational prize money. And you can sort of deduce pretty quickly how hard it is to make a living in this sport. That being said, it's a great opportunity to build a big brand for yourself. And if you can, then you can really monetize that. But if you look at the Rogue Invitational prize money, first place, $146,000. Of course, that's an amazing living. $73,000 for second place and $43,000 for third place. At $43,000, you know, you're probably making some money from other shows, but it's certainly not an extravagant lifestyle. You fall to fourth, and now you're at $14,000 at the best paying show of the year, which is a great addition to a regular income, but it's not a regular income in and of itself. Then we talk about YouTube channels, we talk about sponsorship, we talk about merch, and you can build a really good business off of the back of that. But it takes a lot of work, and it takes some business acumen, and it takes willingness to take big risks. And some guys just aren't in the position to be able to do that. And if you're not, then it just might not be a reality for you. That being said, at World's Strongest Man this year, I'm the only athlete with a booth. And I hope that it was the same thing at the Arnold, same thing at the Arnold UK. I hope other guys see what I'm doing and they can see like how easy in a way it is. After you get things sorted and you start to get your clothes running, then if you have someone man your booth and it's a brand that's associated with you, well, great. And I think this is one of the important things when it comes to athletes in general. We could just stream that, yeah? I'll just pop it from my computer up after the intermission's over. The important thing with athletes in general is, you know, it is possible for you to do extra things. It is possible for you to make extra sources of income, but we just have to make it a bit more accessible. And what you have to realize is sponsorship is what a lot of athletes are after. And they go, I want a clothing sponsor, I want a shoe sponsor, I want a hat sponsor, whatever. And if you can get them, that's amazing. But what you have to realize is every time you can get a sponsor, that means you're worth more to the sponsor than they're paying you. Meaning that if you executed well, you could do what they're doing and make more money. Of course, this isn't true in every industry. You couldn't do that for, say I work with blokes. I couldn't do that with hormone peptides, just start a peptide company, and there's a lot more expertise that goes into it. But say for a clothing company, there's no reason that you can't make your own clothes and make more money than a company perceives you to be worth, because they're just using you as a marketing avenue. And if you use that marketing avenue for yourself, well, now you're further ahead because of it. So long-winded way of saying most strongmen have jobs. Most strongmen do not have to have jobs. But do you want to run a business or do you want to just go to your work? A lot of times I would envy the people who just go to a normal job, because you can switch off. And when you're off work, you can go train, not worry about anything else. All right. I'm going to answer a few more questions. I'll stay on for another 5. If you really want something answered, Super Chat's the way to go. Even if it's $5 or whatever, just something to pop it up to the top. And then I am going to get a drink, finish my dinner, and watch the Leafs game. All right. Here's one from Baclops. What are some tricks to get past the 5-plate deadlift mark? More advanced techniques for bigger numbers. Also tried the OJ and Greek yogurt chicken is phenomenal. It's so funny when something picks up on socials. I think I just mentioned that briefly in a YouTube video, and now I'll get tagged every single day in yogurt and OJ content. So thank you for that. I'm glad that it's helping people and you're getting a lot out of it. Now, tricks to get past the 5-plate deadlift mark. Let's generalize this and just say any deadlift plateau or any plateau in any lift. A couple of important things here. there's the law of diminishing returns, which basically, if you continue to try to do the same thing, it will work at first, and eventually it's just going to get to the point where the progress just plateaus. And when it plateaus, eventually you're going to get to the point where it actually starts to creep downwards. So first thing is, don't beat your head into a wall. Second is managing sympathetic fatigue, meaning that you're going to have to deload every 5 to 7 weeks, 4 to 7 weeks, depending on your training age and how heavy the absolute weight is. And then you look at your accessories, and are you doing everything you can do to make the most of those? For example, I find squatting to be a great accessory for deadlifts. Laws program snatch grip deadlifts for me, and that was phenomenal for improving my deadlift. And these are ways that you can have slightly lower weights, but still get a really, really strong stimulus. But what I find most people struggle with is just general consistency. You overcomplicate your training to the point where you try so hard for 6 months, and you're thinking like, why am I stuck? But even though people think that I came out of nowhere, I started resistance training heavy when I was 16, and I never really missed a day. Even when I was running, even when I was obviously bodybuilding, I was doing it as well. But always, I was out training hard. So, that's it. Like, just set your sights a little bit longer and make sure you're recovering as much as you need to. Change up your accessories. Don't deadlift from the floor the same way for block after block after block. Change it up a bit. And honestly, there's a lot of good programs out there. I have a deadlift peaking program. If you go on moosecoaching.com, you can find that there. That's what I used to get to 475 kilos. So, you could use that. You could use a different program, but follow a program, take your deloads, manage fatigue, and be patient. All right. Super chat here. Chad, 1-1 end of first. Yeah, we're going to pop that up very shortly. Another super chat from SJ Gaming. My wife thinks you're hot as hell. I hope your wife is hot. Tell her I say hi. Denise, thank you very much for the super chat. If there were one thing you could change about the sport of strongman in the near future, what would it be? I think it would be having some type of collective athlete organization so we could have a little bit more power to be able to stand up for ourselves when it comes to different things, whether it's scheduling of events or contracts or distribution of prize money or athlete safety and how events are selected, how close together big shows are. I think that's all stuff that could really be worked on. And I hope that eventually the organizations can start talking to each other a bit more. So Worlds talks to Shaw and talks to the Invitational, and they talk to each other, and the Arnold talks to them. So we don't get a situation where Giants Live, and they all talk to Giants Live, so they don't all talk, and then or they don't talk at the moment. So we have things like a 1 week gap between Giants Live in Glasgow and the Rogue Invitational. And it holds back performances to a degree. Right now, I think Giants Live runs the tightest ship of regular strongman promotion. I think that's a phenomenal live event. I think they're doing things really well. We're always treated extremely well by them. So I see that from an athlete experience as the thing that has blown me away the most, and hopefully other people can follow suit. Not to say anyone else. Everyone has their pros and cons. Worlds has the title. The Rogue Invitational, like the professionalism and the prize money is amazing. The Arnold is a hard environment to replicate with so many people and so many fans. But the Giants Live, it's just, it's a whole family of people who you're thrust into associating with, and all great people, all really nice and pleasant to deal with. You speak to Darren and Colin. They are the people who make the decisions and the ones who are your direct contacts. All of that stuff goes a long way. So those are a few things that I would look to improve in the near future. Dominic, throughout your training and diet, what was the one thing you wished you started earlier? When you started really gaining weight, what was a normal day of eating look like? Thanks for all you do. I've made a couple of videos about my full day of eating. That hasn't changed a huge amount in the past couple of years. I always try to eat as healthy as I reasonably can. There's no getting around. You look like what you eat. So you look at me, I don't eat like a bodybuilder, and that's why I'm not shredded like a bodybuilder, and I can't be. I'm going to finish this salmon and broccoli, and I'll probably have an ice cream and, I don't know, a bowl of cereal or something, where, it's certainly goal dependent. So you can find those videos. 4 or 5 of them now of my full day of diet. But one thing I wish I started earlier is a good question. If you think about it, I was like 4 years from starting Strongman to winning World's Strongest Man. So there's not a lot that I look back on with regret and wishing that I started earlier. I think, if anything, I wish I started with a high-level coach earlier. I think in that first year of World's Strongest Man, if I was working with Laws for a good solid prep, say 12 weeks into that, he probably could have steered me in the right direction and earned me a couple more spots. Maybe I came 4th or 5th instead of 7th. But I also think I needed that time to coach myself and try things for myself. And I'm not sure I would have taken a coach on board as much if I wasn't able to do that by myself first, and then go, okay, I can do it by myself. Now let's get some help and see where I could go. Brandon says, why does Strongman not avoid sugar? You seem to intake a lot of sugar. It surprised me. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but sugar is fine, first of all. And when you consume something, it all mixes in your gut. So if you're just having candy by itself, that's going to spike your insulin and that's going to store away sugar. When it comes to, say, like my Greek yogurt and OJ, well, I have that always with a meal. And so that all mixes in your stomach. So what's called the glycemic index is what's really important. The glycemic index involves everything that you intake together. So if I eat this meal, broccoli, salmon, and I have a few pieces of candy after, well, the overall mixture of that is what actually matters. So that's some good dietary advice. If you want to have some sugar, have it on top of a protein shake or something with some healthy fats in it, and it can help blunt the negative effects. But metabolically active tissue or muscle mass, it soaks up sugar from your bloodstream. So we all get blood tests. My HbA1c, which is your long-term blood glucose levels, are in the healthy below average range, and below being better than average. Because when you have such a high muscle mass, you're soaking up glucose like mad, to the point where sometimes I'll feel like I call it strongman-induced diabetes, where like I get a little bit woozy and I do go hypoglycemic because that muscle is just soaking up sugar all day. Hopefully that answers the question for you. And thank you very much for the super chat. On to our next, the Backyard Strongman. At the Arnold's Columbus, I gushed over Fabian, then essentially snubbed you just for a laugh. I don't think it's funny to snub someone and make someone feel bad, but we have recounted that a few times, and that is something that we've cracked up over a little bit. Did you hear that?
No.
This is old man at the Arnold who came up to you, said he was a big fan and walked away.
Oh.
And he said he did it to snub me. Yeah. Weird. Be nice, yeah? Little Tank, thank you very much for the super chat. Can you give Vincent a shout out? Can't wait to see you compete tomorrow. Vincent, hello, mate. Make sure you cheer loud for me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being a fan. Head over, check out the LHBK booth, catch my attention in some merch, and I'll give you a high five. Christopher Healing, we got our last super chat here. Good luck, Moose. My 6-year-old August is your biggest fan. Excited to try his first OJ and yogurt. OJ and yogurt is so anabolic. You should only try that after puberty, but I'll leave that to your discretion as a father. Thank you very much, guys. Go ahead and wish me luck. Thank you for your support. Day 1 of World's Strongest Man. Heats is tomorrow. I will run another live the day between Heats and Finals. Hopefully everything goes to plan, and I'm talking to you as a contender for the World's Strongest Man title when Friday rolls around. Go Leafs, go. We will speak to you very soon. As always, lift heavy, be kind, and we'll catch you next time.